And opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of KLAY or those who advertise their products or services on this station.
Welcome one more time to BizTechTalk. I'm Darrel Bowman, your IT professional.
And I'm Mel West, your business advisor. Thank you for joining us today and every Tuesday from noon to 1 for BizTechTalk, where we are hosting discussions with local and national business leaders.
Hey, throughout our show, don't forget, we're going to be talking to a variety of high-tech professionals and business professionals as well about the latest technology and business trends which are happening today and coming tomorrow. But you know, today, we've got an awesome opportunity in having Michael Gerber, the author of the E-Myth series, about 14-plus books on just about everything business-oriented. So I'm excited.
I'm excited. This is something that when I've talked to business owners and people that are looking to start businesses, it's just one of those tools that I say, hey, go read this book first.
Oh, yes. And, you know, over the last few weeks, I've been reading a few of his books and listening to him on tape. And I think this guy's got me pegged. And I think he's going to have a lot of folks knowing when they hear this stuff that they're out there and they're pegged as well. And, there's some things that they can do to change. So, but before we get into talking about that, we always like to talk about veterans and trying to get them employed, because without their service, we wouldn't get the opportunities we have today. So, Mel, you got about something you want to talk about?
Well, yeah, I want to talk about the 3 million businesses that are owned by military veterans out there. And just recently, the Tacoma-Pierce County Chamber has been selected by the National Veteran-Owned Business Association by Veteran Partnership. And, basically, it's a national registry and awareness campaign that's going to help veteran-owned businesses, display their businesses and a place where people can go and seek out veteran-owned businesses.
So all that thing we've been talking about is seek out a veteran-owned business in ways that you can. So not only do we go to the Department of Veterans Affairs, but now we can go to local chamber and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing business today, and I'd prefer to do it with a veteran-owned business. So can you point me in the direction I want to go?
Well, this is the cool part. You can go to buyveteran.com, and it's, if you wanted to list your business, or if I wanted to list my business.
I'm on there tomorrow.
Right? It's $3.99 a month for a veteran-owned business to be on that website.
Now, let's make sure that's $3.99.
$3.99. Yes, sir.
I've had this conversation just recently.
But here's the cool thing about the partnership with the Tacoma-Pierce County Chamber. If you contact Gary Brackett over there and at the Tacoma Chamber, you can get a 25% discount. So while
so now it's only $2.
Yeah, so 25% off at $3.99. Yeah, so it's still a heck of a deal.
Hell of a deal.
But that partnership, they've been recognized as somebody that supports not only businesses, but also the military. So once again, let's reach out to our veterans and help them, seek them out. And buyveteran.com is just another place that you can go to seek out those veteran-owned businesses.
And also, if you're looking for somebody to employ, veterans politely said can get stuff done. So those are the folks that you want to put inside in your office, in your place of employment, in your plant, in your manufacturing firm, or wherever that you might have an opportunity that they can help you to succeed, because that's what they do.
Well, Darrel, I think this is maybe a good place for us to take a break, pay a few bills, get some stuff done, and we come back, we're going to talk with Michael Gerber.
CloudSway removes the hassle of small business financial management. Easily upload receipts, bills, invoices, POs, and other business expenses through your mobile device, email, or scanner. CloudSway automatically scans your data and matches each transaction to your bank and credit cards. Invite staff to send their corporate receipts, allowing the team to contribute and collaborate, managing all company financial data in one location. CloudSway's reports and alerts help to guard against fraud and expense abuse. CloudSway makes it easy to protect your company's most prized possession, its financial security. Visit cloudsway.com.
Few things say more about your business than the quality of the photos in your ads and on your website. Corporate photographer Rick Doms specializes in custom photography for discriminating corporations around the world and right here in Tacoma. Rick's photos have graced the pages of Forbes, Fortune, Barron's, the Wall Street Journal, and the marketing materials of a host of great American companies. Companies like yours. See what Rick Doms photography can do for your business on the web at rickdoms.com. RICKDAHMS.com.
Are you tired of maintaining or upgrading your business technology year after year just to keep up? Moore's Law states technology will keep getting faster and smaller year after year. Office N and Icon is making Moore's Law obsolete by giving you infinite computing power. It's always new with unlimited resources. It's fast, affordable, secure, reliable, and flexible with endless CPU, RAM, and hard drive. Never worry about a virus, upgrades, backups, or patches again. With Office N and Icon, your office is anywhere at any time from any device. Unleash your power at OfficeNandIcon.com.
AimBiz.com brings you the life of a business website. The majority of business websites can't be found by search engines, so their owners lose customers and money. An AIM business website wins new customers on Google and Facebook. Imagine your website with great content management, an integrated blog, clean designs, and clear messages. To top it off, at AimBiz.com, you get a free website design mock-up before you ever spend a dime. For more information, go to AimBiz.com. That's AIMBIZ.com.
Welcome back to BizTechTalk. I'm Darrel Bowman, your IT professional.
And I'm Mel West, your business advisor.
Hey, don't forget, every Tuesday, noon to 1, we're here on Clay 1180. Visit us at BizTechTalk.net and listen to our shows, download our podcast. We're on Facebook, we're on Google+, and hey, we're in a whole lot of places, aren't we? YouTube. I keep forgetting about that one, man. And so email us with your comments and suggestions about shows that you think we should be talking about and that you want to hear about. And, well, as we talked about earlier, today we are here with Michael Gerber from Michael Gerber Companies, and he is the author of the E-Myth series of books, about 14 books out there. And according to not only Inc. magazine, but one of the most of the reputable business rags out there, so to speak, Mike is the world's #1 business coach out there on the planet, and author as well. So we're extremely happy to have him here. So welcome, Mike, to our show, and thank you for joining us.
Great. First thing you got to do is you got to call me Michael, not Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So that's quite all right.
I'm speaking into a mic, Michael.
Called me Mike. He was 4 years old. I was 5 years old, and I punched him out.
Oh, well, thank God you're on the phone and I'm not, and you're on the phone, so the long arm of Michael won't reach. Well, thanks for joining us, Michael. We do appreciate that. And, our listeners out there, they've expressed a lot of interest in getting to know you and understand more about you. And so can you tell us a little bit about the E-Myth for our listeners who may not have read the book and what that's all about and what got you started?
Well, first of all, I got to say that anybody who's in business, anybody who wants to go into business, who hasn't read the E-Myth, has really got to check themselves out. The E-Myth is the entrepreneurial myth, and it essentially says that people who go into business aren't really the entrepreneurs we think they are, but instead are what I've come to call technicians suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure. So they start with the fatal assumption that because they know how to do the work, they're a chiropractor, they're a cardiologist, they're an auto mechanic, they're a graphic designer, because they know how to do the work of the business, they know how to build a business that does that work. And it's a disaster because they don't. So my whole life has been about awakening the entrepreneur within, whether it be a business owner, whether that be somebody who wants to be in business, whether that's somebody who's got a lousy job and they don't want to keep that job anymore. The entrepreneur is the key.
Well, go ahead, Mel.
Well, and you talk about those three different people, the entrepreneur, the manager, and everybody in those three cases, they all want to be in charge. But a lot of times we don't have the ability to be that entrepreneur or don't fall into that role because we are that technician. What is the best place for a person to start?
Well, the best place for a person to start is at the beginning. Now, I'm not being facetious when I say that, but I call it a blank piece of paper, a beginner's mind. And so anybody who's listening to us now, understand this is not just a rhetorical digest of what I write about, because I'm a street guy. Everything I've done, I've developed on the street, learning, in fact, what works and what doesn't work, why it works, why it doesn't work, and what are the essential obstacles in the way of everybody who owns a broken business and wants to fix it. That's what we've been doing. We've been doing that in 145 countries. We've done that with tens upon tens upon tens of thousands of business clients in every industry. So you start at the beginning. And everybody who's listening right now must know that the beginning starts now. Forget about what you've done. Forget about what you think you're doing. Forget about where you think you're going. The only way to make this blessed event happen in a way that, in fact, will truly go beyond where you are is to start it where you're not, and that is a blank piece of paper and beginner's mind. That's where the entrepreneur lives.
So you're just saying, if you've already got a business going and you are a technician, let's just roll it up, throw it out, start over. And I believe I've heard you even speak about forget about those mission statements, forget about those things, but get a plan and start planning what that plan is going to be and start putting systems together, right? I mean...
Well, what I really am saying, and that's close to it, but what I'm really saying is start out not by throwing away old co being the company you've got, but by starting again inside you, not inside your company. The company's not the problem. The person who owns the company is the problem. So understanding that means that you're going to start to reframe your relationship with your company by awakening the entrepreneur within. So it's not get a plan. It's get a dream, get a vision, get a purpose, and get a mission.
It sounds like a lot of people are going to struggle with this, though. A lot of people are going to struggle with just actually coming to grips with that.
Well, everybody struggles with everything. What can I tell you? All we got to do is talk about it, and then they'll become much more conversant with it. So the words mean something. A dream, Martin Luther King, a dream is a great result. So what's the great result you're setting out to create by creating your company? The vision is the model, the business model that will enable you to produce that great result. So my business model was to invent the McDonald's of small business consulting, and I've done that. Effectively, that means turnkey, 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 turnkey. Little sucker works, and it works so it's scalable.
And this would essentially be the first step in your 7-step process when you talk about your business development program.
Absolutely.
Of that franchise model. And I know you talk a lot about McDonald's and Ray Kroc in your book. So that's really just determining your primary aim in life?
Well, it's determining your primary aim. Who do I wish to be in life? When I finally look at my life being over, what would I like to be able to say? If I were to deliver my own eulogy, what would I like to be able to say about that guy? Well, you've got to know that before you start this. Because if you don't know that before you start this business you're going to start, then you're already off track. So that drives your dream, your vision, your purpose, and your mission. And your dream is the dreamer, and your vision is the thinker, and your purpose is the storyteller, and your leader has a mission. This is a system and a systematic way of inventing anything great. Every great entrepreneur does it, whether it's Ray Kroc, whether it's Howard Schultz, whether it's the guy who created Walmart, whether it's the guy who created IBM. Every single one of them have a clear picture of what the outcome will be. Unfortunately, very few small business owners do.
You know, that this way we know what the end is in mind rather than just starting out. I know how to get this thing rolling, and if I can just keep it alive, it's great. But now I know where the end is, because without the end, how do you know if you're finished? Is that correct?
Well, absolutely. And you understand if you start this business by that technician's mind inside of you, this is how to do it, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do. I sell real estate, so I'll create a real estate brokerage. I fix hearts, so I'll start a medical practice, and then I'll go to work in it, doing it, busy. What I'm suggesting is no great entrepreneur ever started a company like that. So what we do is we teach people how to awaken the great entrepreneur within them so that they don't start a company like that, and so they can be assured, because they're starting a company like an entrepreneur does, that in fact it's going to have meaning and it's going to be able to work without them as opposed to because of them. So they're not creating a job for themselves.
So what you're talking about is basically the infancy, adolescence, maturity, the people that everybody goes through, and kind of avoiding that, or are we talking about how to structure that?
Well, we're talking about how to start that and structure that. So you remember I said in the E-Myth why most small businesses don't work and what to do about it. That essentially infancy, is typically the state of all small businesses. That's where the technician is the business. So he doesn't really own one, even though he calls it a business. He is a business. So he's got a job for himself, and he's working for a lunatic. So what happens?
There's a lot of us out there, by the way.
The business begins to grow, so he's got to hire people. And he goes into adolescence. And he starts to hire people to do the work he doesn't like to do. And he hires people who have experience. Right? They got to have experience, because if they don't have experience, how are they going to do the work I don't like to do? The problem is they got their experience someplace else. And so now what they're going to do is what everybody in your business does. And because they're going to do that, you suddenly realize you can't differentiate your company from anybody else, because you have people who used to work someplace else, and all they're doing is what they learned over there. So it's a disaster. I'm saying you start a mature company from the very outset by awakening the entrepreneur within you, and in the process, you begin to realize that your company is more than just you doing what you know how to do. It's a system that you invent so you can scale it. Invent a system that works to produce an absolutely definable and deliberately branded result that differentiates your company from everybody else. And every great company is built that way.
And that's kind of where the whole strategy is about 90% of what you don't do is what comes up and really bites the businesses in the butt versus the 10% of what they really do.
Well, absolutely. So we call it strategic thinking rather than tactical thinking. So we don't want to get too academic about it. So what is strategic thinking? Essentially, strategic thinking is what I'm describing happens in the dreaming room. And the dreaming room is where you do awaken the entrepreneur within. And you do by determining what your dream, your vision, your purpose, and your mission are. And that is strategic thinking.
So you talk about that is probably 90-10. You're using, as a business owner, you should be doing about 90% strategic thinking and planning versus 10% working in your business or whatever. Am I correct in those numbers? I'm not.
Well, what you find, and you know this, Mel. You've been working with small business owners, and you know this as well, Darrel. That most owners are working in their business, and most of the time is spent fixing mistakes. Most of the time is spent doing it. So if a chiropractor starts a chiropractic practice, 90% of his time is spent being a chiropractor. The rest of the time is running away from people. So he's being a chiropractor, doing it, busy, but he's not building a systems service that effectively can relieve him of the responsibility for being the primary source of income for his company.
You know, excuse me, Randy Walden of Heartwarming Care down here, he asked a question right about now. What makes it difficult for a business to develop those systems necessary to run their business? What do you find from your research and from your experience that makes it difficult for people?
Well, what makes it difficult for people is their unwillingness to start with a blank piece of paper. Their unwillingness to accept the fact that what they believe to be true about working in their business is completely untrue. Of truly taking a counterintuitive approach, what makes it almost impossible is they can't imagine that what Ray Kroc did at McDonald's has anything to do with what they do in their business. And they're right, it doesn't, because Ray Kroc was a brilliant strategic thinker, a brilliant entrepreneur who thought two things: transformation and scale. How do I transform the state of the hamburger stand, the hamburger restaurant, the hamburger store? How do I transform the way it works? And how do I do that in a way that enables me to scale it tens of thousands of times? Now, understand, he did that tens of thousands of times. So the biggest single problem with every small business owner I run into is they say, yeah, but I don't want to have 10,000 stores. I don't want to have 35,000 stores. And I'm saying, yeah, but even if you only have one, that store must operate systemically in an absolutely predictable way Otherwise, it will continually break down.
Well, I think a lot of this
upon people.
I think a lot of this comes down to trust. Nobody cares about my business as much as I do. You know, how many times do you hear that? You know, and
well, that's the point of the technician. Nobody does it like I do. Nobody wants to do it like I do. Nobody is willing to work as hard as I will. Who's saying that? The producer, the technician, the doer, the guy who's working his butt off. Sweat equity. You've heard that old expression. Who absolutely doesn't understand what a manager thinks like and what an entrepreneur thinks like. And because he doesn't understand that, he constantly complains about the fact that people are constantly letting him down.
This sounds like the skinny guy, fat guy conversation.
You got it.
And so just for those folks that don't know that, you want to elaborate on that? Because that is so good.
Well, you know what it is. The fat guy sitting there watching football on a Saturday or on a Monday night, and he's stuffing his face with sandwiches or whatever stuff he's eating. And suddenly, something happens. He's watching these guys working out, playing the game, doing the duty, and he suddenly experiences himself like a bucket of lard, and he says, "Oh my God, I got to get skinny again." Well, it's not really the fat guy saying that. It's the skinny guy saying that. And the skinny guy in the fat guy, and each and every one of us have these two guys, simply says you got to get off your seat. You got to get off your rump. You got to stop eating that stuff. You got to get skinny. You got to get thin. You got to get in shape.
And this is, I'm hearing that we're laughing in here because Mel and I both lost a lot of weight recently.
Hey, my Advocare diet's working great, so I'm excited about it.
Anyway, I keep going. I'm sorry, Mike, but we're sitting here listening, and we're both seeing ourselves.
I got it.
I've always been the skinny guy.
And then one day, when you're just getting ready, early in the morning, you go out and run, it's raining outside. Now, you know what it's like raining outside because that's all you guys got up there.
Oh,
especially right now.
Oh, yeah. We're on our like 50th day of no rain, but that's good.
Run? Are you kidding me? Let's eat. The fat guy woke up.
Oh, yes, he did.
Off the diet, off the regimen, you understand what I mean. So we're all completely consumed by these different personalities. The entrepreneur, the manager, the technician. Technician thinks it's everything. The manager thinks he's everything, and the entrepreneur thinks she's everything. But in fact, when they're consumed by that point of view, they can't see anything else. And we're all guilty of that. We're born that. We have many little eyes inside of ourselves that continually distract us from the path we're on.
Hey, that's good. Hey, speaking of fat men, I think this is maybe where we go and pay a couple of them. Take a break.
And are you referring to our sponsors?
I don't want to get too excited.
But let's go ahead and take a break. You're listening to BizTechTalk on Clay 1180.
CloudSway removes the hassle of small business financial management. Easily upload receipts, bills, invoices, POs, and other business expenses through your mobile device, email, or scanner. CloudSway automatically scans your data and matches each transaction to your bank and credit cards. Invite staff to send their corporate receipts, allowing the team to contribute and collaborate, managing all company financial data in one location. CloudSway's reports and alerts help to guard against fraud and expense abuse. CloudSway makes it easy to protect your company's most prized possession, its financial security. Visit cloudsway.com.
In today's economy, doing more with less has become the standard. Feeling overwhelmed or out of control does not have to be part of that standard. If you are looking for improved profitability and better teamwork, West Business Concepts' expertise in sales, organizational development, and finance offers real-world solutions today. West Business Concepts helps you develop clarity and focus on who matters most. Gain an edge over your competition. Visit westbusinessconcepts.com today. That's westbusinessconcepts.com.
I know you've been thinking about adding video to your website. Don't put it off any longer. Your customers are about 75% more likely to purchase your product after learning about it in a video. Gabe Medina Productions is ready to help you put a face to your business and show your customers why your company is the better choice. We want to work with you because we want to see your business grow. Go to GabeMedinaProductions.com or call 206-250-0735 for more info. That's 206-250-0735.
Be a part of Tacoma's Waterfront Association, a dynamic organization dedicated to making Tacoma's waterfront a great place to visit and do business. Join them the second Wednesday of each month from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Crow's Nest at the Tacoma Yacht Club to hear exciting guest speakers and see what's happening on the waterfront. Be a part of the community strength. Make a difference along Tacoma's magnificent 46 miles of waterfront. For more information or to become a member of the Tacoma Waterfront Association, visit tacomawaterfront.org.
In Pierce County, 17% of residents are food insecure. That's 1 in 6 people who are unsure where their next meal is coming from. Someone you know is going hungry. What can you do about it? Help support Fish Food Banks of Pierce County. For every dollar received, Fish's 8 food bank locations can distribute $7 worth of food to families in need. To learn more about stopping hunger here in Pierce County, go to fishfoodbanks.org. That's fishfoodbanks.org.
Welcome back to BizTechTalk. I'm Darrel Bowman, your IT professional.
And I'm Mel West, your business advisor.
Hey, we're here today with Michael Gerber, the author of the E-Myth series of books and a world-renowned business coach. And so we are learning a lot of things today. And so, Michael, thanks again for joining us. And as we were going out, we were talking about the skinny and the fat guy, and we had a lot of jokes and references between Mel and I afterwards. But, we wanted to look back a little bit further and find out, how did you get your influence for the E-Myth series of books? I know you wrote a few books before. I think it was the PowerPoint and a few others. But what got you turned on to the E-Myth?
Well, actually, the first book that I wrote was the E-Myth.
Oh.
Why Most Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It. It was published in 1986.
Oh, okay.
And the second book was called the PowerPoint. Third book was called the E-Myth Revisited, and the E-Myth Revisited is the one that everybody knows me for. And then there are a whole series of books, now 18 books in all. But it started out simply by accident. I had, in my life, I called myself the Wandering Jew. I studied the saxophone when I was 12 years old. I had a master teacher of the saxophone who told me that I only teach people who want to become the best saxophone players in the world. He's standing there in his grungy little studio telling me this. I was 12, and he said, and it's going to take you to practice 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. You're going to have to practice what I tell you to practice. You're going to have to practice how I tell you to practice. And he turned to my folks and he said, and this will be the last time I ever see or hear from you again. So that was kind of neat.
That was kind of neat.
I started out with him, and of course the first week I didn't practice. First week, because I was a natural, I just assumed I had it handled. I went up to his studio on Melrose in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, from Anaheim, took 3 buses to get there, and started to play. And about a minute into it, he said, stop. He said, what did I tell you? And I just didn't say anything. He said, what I told you is I only teach people who want to become the best saxophone players in the world. And in order to do that, you got to practice 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, end of story. He said, you didn't do it. That's one, and there is no two. So if you decide to come back up here next Saturday at this time, you'd better have done what I sent you home to do. Otherwise, you're out of here. Up to you. Goodbye. So that was my first real teacher. Now, you got to understand, I had a master who taught me how to sell encyclopedias. I had a master who taught me how to frame a house. So I had 3 truly influential masters in my life, and every single one of them taught me that the system is the solution. Had nothing to do with business. Had to do with life. The system, meaning how you learn to play the saxophone, becoming extraordinary. How you learn how to sell encyclopedias, becoming extraordinary. How you learn how to frame a house and become extraordinary. Each of them had their own way, and each of them had a system through which they taught me and expected me to do what we were setting out to do. Well, when I got done with the framing, when I got done with this part of my life, in my late 30s, I moved from Southern California to Northern California and stopped over with my sister and my brother-in-law. And he owned a small ad agency. And he asked me one day if I would come visit one of his clients in Silicon Valley who owned a small startup, a high-tech startup there. So I said, well, what will I do? He said, no, please, just do me a favor, come visit this guy. He doesn't know how to convert our leads, the leads we create, our ad agency creates for him, into sales. So just talk to him and see what happens. I said, but Ace, I don't know anything about business. He said, don't worry, you know everything you need to know. I said, but I don't know anything about technology. And he said, don't worry, just let's go visit him and see what happens.
So how did you pull this around to business?
So hear me. So I go visit him, Bob, who owned this small high-tech company, and he asked me, what do you know about my business? I said, nothing, Bob. He said, what do you know about my products? I said, less than that, Bob. He said, so how can you help me? I said, I haven't a clue, but Ace thinks I can. So we got an hour to kill. Why don't you just tell me what your problem is? This is exactly how my career as the world's #1 small business guru, as Inc. magazine calls me, began. Well, Bob told me. And I instantly knew what Bob's problem was. Bob didn't have a selling system. Bob had sales engineers. And his expectation was that sales engineers know the technology, are part of the industry, so therefore they should be able to succeed and sell his product. But, of course, they weren't and didn't. And I said, hell, you could get kids to sell your product if you knew the system for doing it. He said, nonsense. I said, well, that's the truth. And let me tell you the story of how I learned myself to do that. And I told him the story of selling encyclopedias. Well, he said, if you could do that for me, and I doubt you can, what would it cost? I said, I have no idea. I'm not a business consultant. He said, well, I'll pay you this if you can do that, meaning create the system, and let's see how good you are. So Ace comes to pick me up, and Ace asked me how it went, and I told him. He said, how can you do that? You don't know anything about business. I said, Ace, that's what I told you before we went to meet Bob. That's how eMyth began. Because, in fact, I did exactly what I said. I built a selling system for Bob, and that selling system outsold anything he had ever created before. I then went on to another company and another company and another company and another company, and I began to understand what the problem was. That not only didn't they understand what my saxophone teacher understood, what my sales manager understood, what my framing teacher taught me, they didn't understand their own business. They didn't understand the system is the solution. And I suddenly realized that I could create a company to do that. And then I walked into McDonald's, and it really struck me, and I really had my epiphany. And holy cow, we did it. We created a turnkey business coaching system, the first of its kind in the world. I've subsequently coached over 75,000 client companies throughout the world and teaching people how to do the very same thing.
Michael, that's fantastic. Now, talking a little bit about the unknown, how do you approach the unknown?
Well, I simply approach it with a question. What's going on here? And then it begins to answer. It begins to tell me, this is going on here. I say, show me. And then it shows me. But then I see the gap between what they said's going on here and what is actually going on here. And my intelligence begins to work. Holy cow. What they believe is going on here is different than what is actually going on here, and the process begins. So the process really is an extraordinarily open process, not with an answer, but with a question. What's missing in this picture? That's the driving question that has always driven me. What's missing in this picture? And as I begin to look, I begin to understand. As I begin to understand, I begin to create. As I begin to create, I begin to test. As I begin to test, I begin to validate. As I begin to validate, I begin to transform it and move it and move it and move it and move it. And that's how you go to work on the business as true entrepreneurs do, rather than going to work in the business as every technician suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure does. Doing it. And that's the heart of everything we've taught and learned.
Well, Michael, and I understand that, but how do you keep your feelings from clouding your decisions and what do you suggest for us business folks out there to keep our thinking clear?
Well, you don't keep your feelings from it because you don't have the power to. You simply remember what you're setting out to do. What you're setting out to do is to discover what's missing in this picture. If you're creating a program, a product, a service, whatever that you're going to deliver to a customer, you're asking the question, not what is my product going to do, you're asking the question, what's missing in this picture in my customer's life? What's missing in this picture? And then you go deeper in that and deeper in that. And that's why, in order to start my company, the first company I ever started, the Michael Thomas Corporation, we called it a business development firm. It was the seed bed for the E-Myth. It was the seed bed for the Michael Thomas Business Development Program. It was the seed bed for what I speak about now called the Dreaming Room. I had to get out on the street because it's on the street where you discover what's true. You have to do that. We made hundreds of thousands of calls on small business. That is not an exaggeration. That's a fact. Hundreds of thousands to ask the questions, to discover what's missing in this picture. And all the feelings that get in the way begin to be dissolved within this extreme entrepreneurial environment, temperament, that all the feelings go away because the passion begins to awaken to see a problem, to see an opportunity that hasn't been seized yet.
Hey,
anybody can do that.
Michael, you just brought up the business development. You mentioned that business development process and stuff. And I think before we get into that, and I know we talked briefly about it at the beginning of the show, but before we do that, why don't we take a little break, and when we come back, we can jump into that business development process.
You got it.
You're listening to BizTech Talk on Clay 1180.
CloudSway removes the hassle of small business financial management. Easily upload receipts, bills, invoices, POs, and other business expenses through your mobile device, email, or scanner. CloudSway automatically scans your data and matches each transaction to your bank and credit cards. Invite staff to send their corporate receipts, allowing the team to contribute and collaborate, managing all company financial data in one location. CloudSway's reports and alerts help to guard against fraud and expense abuse. CloudSway makes it easy to protect your company's most prized possession, its financial security. Visit cloudsway.com.
Few things say more about your business than the quality of the photos in your ads and on your website. Corporate photographer Rick Dom specializes in custom photography for discriminating corporations around the world and right here in Tacoma. Rick's photos have graced the pages of Forbes, Fortune, Barron's, the Wall Street Journal, and the marketing materials of a host of great American companies. Companies like yours. See what Rick Dom's photography can do for your business on the web at rickdoms.com. RICKDAHMS.com.
AimBiz.com brings you the life of a business website. The majority of business websites can't be found by search engines, so their owners lose customers and money. An AIM Business website wins new customers on Google and Facebook. Imagine your website with great content management, an integrated blog, clean designs, and clear messages. To top it off, at AimBiz.com, you get a free website design mock-up before you ever spend a dime. For more information, go to AimBiz.com. That's AIMBIZ.com.
Be a part of Tacoma's Waterfront Association, a dynamic organization dedicated to making Tacoma's waterfront a great place to visit and do business. Join them the second Wednesday of each month from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Crow's Nest at the Tacoma Yacht Club to hear exciting guest speakers and see what's happening on the waterfront. Be a part of the community strength. Make a difference along Tacoma's magnificent 46 miles of waterfront. For more information or to become a member of the Tacoma Waterfront Association, visit tacomawaterfront.org.
In Pierce County, 17% of residents are food insecure. That's 1 in 6 people who are unsure where their next meal is coming from. Someone you know is going hungry. What can you do about it? Help support Fish Food Banks of Pierce County. For every $1 received, Fish's 8 food bank locations can distribute $7 worth of food to families in need. To learn more about stopping hunger here in Pierce County, go to fishfoodbanks.org. That's fishfoodbanks.org.
Welcome back to BizTechTalk. I'm Darrel Bowman, your IT professional.
And I'm Mel West, your business advisor.
Hey, we're here every Tuesday noon to 1 on Clay 1180. Don't forget to listen to our podcast at itunes.com and also at www.biztech.net. And today we're here with Michael Gerber from the E-Myth and the author of multiple books on the world's #1 business guru. So thanks again, Michael, for joining us.
My pleasure.
And when we left, we were talking about the business development process. Can you go in and explain a little bit about that for us?
Yep, absolutely. The business development process is really three things continuously. It's innovation, finding a better way. It's quantification, determining, measuring that it is the better way. And orchestration. Once you've discovered the better way, you systematize it to make certain that it becomes a part of your company. So, innovation, quantification, orchestration leads on to innovation, quantification, and orchestration. So it's a continuous loop. Continuous. It's not static. It doesn't stop. Once you've orchestrated something, you continue to improve upon it. And it becomes a part of what you were talking about earlier, culture. Becomes a part of the way your company lives and breathes.
Now, we talked a little bit about that during the break, culture, and I was bringing that up because as a small organization poised for a little bit of growth here, one of the things that we can do are we can hire engineers, technicians, and those kinds of individuals, but it's all about the culture. So can you talk a little bit about getting that right?
Well, it's very, very, very important. And I call it the story. So understand, when I was talking about earlier the dream, the vision, the purpose, and the mission, that creates the foundation or platform for your culture. It speaks to the meaning of your business. It's not the money of your business, it's the meaning of your company. And essentially that meaning has to be established in the story. And so each and every individual who comes to interview about working in your company, every single one of those individuals has to listen to the story. It's called Let Me Tell You a Story. It's the story of our company. It's what we believe in. It's what we do. It's how we do it. It's why we do it that way. It's why that's important to us. And because it's so important to us, it's important that the people we bring aboard truly find it to be something that's important to them as well. Not just to give lip service to it. Because if you are accepted here, just like at the U.S. Navy SEALs, you understand you're going to be held accountable for our dream, our vision, our purpose, and our mission. So let me tell you what they are. You follow?
Oh, yes.
Well, and this probably starts with their primary aim.
Well, it starts with your primary aim, but the creation of your dream, vision, purpose, and mission starts truly with a blank piece of paper. It starts with a blank piece of paper and a question. And a question, what is most important to me to do in the world? And what's most important to me to do in the world will drive what's most important for your company to do in the world. And if, in fact, you haven't given that serious contemplation and thought, then effectively all you'll be doing will be pragmatic stuff to get more, to get better, to get faster, to get growing, et cetera, and it will end up like every business does, a business that consumes the owner rather than truly providing the owner with a feeling of making a true difference in the world, making a difference with the people you hire, making a difference with the people you inspire, making a difference with the people who are your customers, your suppliers, your lenders, your investors, your managers, and on so forth and so on. You've got to be clear about what that is.
So, Michael, if you've got somebody that's just a fabulous technician, and I mean they live, breathe, and die for their company basically as a technician, but when it comes to that leadership piece and moving that primary purpose forward, how would you approach that?
Well, you approach it exactly the way I'm saying. There's a system for it. The first step in the system, the first benchmark in the process is the ad that you place. And the ad that you place sets the story in place. It talks about the meaning of your business and the purpose of your business and the vision of your business and what in fact is absolutely possible for anybody who's joining you in your business. It then leads to the next step when you make an appointment for them to come in for their interview. And the next step for the system through which they are interviewed, the story that's told, the information that's gleaned, et cetera, et cetera. And so the process is just that. It's a process. And a process is a system over time. Benchmark 1 in the process, benchmark 2 in the process, benchmark 3. You follow what I'm saying. You have to invent all that. So once you recruit them, once you bring them aboard, then there's a process for acculturating them. And that's step 1, step 2, and on and on and on and on. Now, everybody who's listening to me who owns a small business is saying, I don't have time to do that. I got to find somebody who already knows how to do it so I don't have to spend the time to teach them how to do it.
This is working on your business, though, isn't it?
Well, I think a lot of times...
That guy, if you avoid what I'm describing to you, you will, in fact, create the worst business in the world because you'll constantly be in conflict with the people you bring aboard, who you brought aboard just to go to work and not trouble you, to produce the results and not need you to teach them anything because you've already decided you can't invest in the development of those people and the development of your company. And if you can't do that, please hear me. From a guy who was raised on the street, from a guy who started a company without any money, from a guy who's had to do it, and learn how to do it without capital, understand doing it to create capital while at the same time creating capital to create a great company. All of that, I understand. I've done that. I've been there. So what your feelings are about this are irrelevant to the absolutely need for this. And when you begin to truly understand this and understand the power of your story, and your story has got to be written, it's got to be memorized, you got to know it, you got to live it, you got to breathe it, and everybody in your company's got to too. The minute you understand that, something miraculous happens.
Amen.
Hey, and Michael, we're coming close to the end of the hour, and one of the things I want to make sure that we talk about is your new venture called Origination. Can you tell us a little bit about that new project and if there's a new book out there or anything?
Absolutely. Well, Origination is, in fact, the dreaming room. Origination, the company, is just that. It's in the business of origination. It's the beginning. It's the beginning of life. So anybody out here is unemployed or underemployed or self-employed or a sole proprietor and isn't truly having the greatest experience in their life, I'm saying they need to come to the dreaming room. The dreaming room is the system through which we awaken the entrepreneur within every solitary soul who's up to learn how to create a completely new life through the creation of a new venture. And the Dreaming Room is a 12-week course. It's only $1,995 to do it. We do it online. We can do it with anybody listening to us right now. And all they got to do is come to Michael at michaelegerber.com and say, I want to dream with you. I want to come to a dreaming room. How do I get started? Michael at michaelegerber.com, and I swear we'll start you in the dreaming room, and it will blow your mind.
Are you ready to dream?
Are you ready to dream? Right. Now, are you writing a new book around this, Michael?
Oh, yeah. It's called Making It on Your Own in the Cruel, Cruel World. Confessions of a Serial Entrepreneur.
Oh, man, that's...
And so when do you expect this to be out?
Oh, in about 6 months.
Okay. Now, the process of writing a book is
go get the E-Myth Revisited, and if they want to get that right away, please, why most small businesses don't work, what to do about it. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it anywhere on Earth. It's the most successful small business book ever published.
Now, didn't I see a limited edition or something like that coming out of your website?
A limited edition, too, and if you want to do that, you can spend 4 hours with me talking about the brand, the book, the business, and really have an extraordinary time.
And don't you want to buy two, from what I understand?
Absolutely. You got to buy two. You're so good.
And the reason that you want to buy two?
But we're running out of time.
Oh, no, we've got a minute. We've got a minute.
We've got a minute. So.
Oh, we do? Okay, yeah. So you buy two books, it's $200, and you get 4 hours with me online, through which I talk about the book, the brand, the business, and how to write your own book, how to write your own spectacular book, which everybody is living the life to do, and in the process, learning the secret underlying it. So how do you sell millions upon millions of books, which is what I've done? You write the right book in the right way for the right reason to truly create meaning in Earth, on Earth, in the world. And that's what I've been doing.
And I think I recall you autographing those books, and I remember hearing something about...
You're so good. You got to tell everybody all that stuff.
Oh, putting one in a safe or something, was that?
Yeah. Michael at michaelegerber.com. Want a book? I want to come to the Dreaming Room.
Awesome.
I want to find out everything. Just email me. It's so simple.
Hey, Michael, thanks for joining us. We're at the end of the show.
And we want to say thank you once again. Don't forget your veterans out there and your veteran-owned businesses. Seek them out whenever possible. And Mel and I want to say thank you once again. I'm Darrel Bowman, your IT professional.
And I'm Mel West, your business advisor.
We're here on Clay 1180 every Tuesday, noon to 1. Join us each week. Thanks again. Looking forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks again.
CloudSway removes the hassle of small business financial management. Easily upload receipts, bills, invoices, POs, and other business expenses through your mobile device, email, or scanner. CloudSway automatically scans your data and matches each transaction to your bank and credit cards. Invite staff to send their corporate receipts, allowing the team to contribute and collaborate, managing all company financial data in one location. CloudSway's reports and alerts help to guard against fraud and expense abuse. CloudSway makes it easy to protect your company's most prized possession, its financial security. Visit cloudsway.com.
Are you tired of maintaining or upgrading your business technology year after year just to keep up? Moore's Law states technology will keep getting faster and smaller year after year. Office and Icon is making Moore's Law obsolete by giving you infinite computing power. It's always new with unlimited resources. It's fast, affordable, secure, reliable, and flexible with endless CPU, RAM, and hard drive. Never worry about a virus, upgrades, backups, or patches again. With Office and Icon, your office is anywhere at any time from any device. Unleash your power at officeandicon.com.
In today's economy, doing more with less has become the standard. Feeling overwhelmed or out of control does not have to be part of that standard. If you are looking for improved profitability and better teamwork, West Business Concepts' expertise in sales, organizational development, and finance offers real-world solutions today. West Business Concepts helps you develop clarity and focus on who matters most. Gain an edge over your competition. Visit westbusinessconcepts.com today. That's westbusinessconcepts.com.
I know you've been thinking about adding video to your website. Don't put it off any longer. Your customers are about 75% more likely to purchase your product after learning about it in a video. Gabe Medina Productions is ready to help you put a face to your business and show your customers why your company is the better choice. We want to work with you because we want to see your business grow. Go to GabeMedinaProductions.com or call 206-250-0735 for more info. That's 206-250-0735.